OpenAI privacy policy for individuals in the European Economic Area, United Kingdom, and Switzerland. You can read this version of our privacy policy. For individuals in the United States, you can read this version of our privacy policy. For individuals in the Republic of Korea, please refer to the Korea Addendum. At OpenAI, our mission is to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits everyone. We build tools like ChatGPT and Sora to help people learn, create, and solve problems. We at OpenAI, together with our affiliates, OpenAI, we, our, or us, are committed to respecting your privacy and are strongly committed to keeping secure any information we obtain from you or about you. This privacy policy describes our practices with respect to personal data that we collect from or about you, and how we use it when you use our website, applications, and services. Collectively, services. This privacy policy does not apply to content that we process on behalf of customers of our business offerings, such as our API. Our use of that data is governed by our customer agreements covering access to and use of those offerings. For information about how we collect and use training information to develop our language models that power ChatGPT and other services, and your choices with respect to that information, please see this policy as well as this Help Center article, opens in a new window. 1. Personal data. We collect. We collect personal data relating to you. Personal data, as follows. Personal data you provide. We collect personal data if you create an account to use our services or communicate with us as follows. Account information. When you create an account with us, we will collect information associated with your account, including your name, contact information, account credentials, date of birth, payment information, and transaction history, collectively, account information. Some of our services may also allow you to upload a profile picture, a username, or other information as part of your account information. User content. We collect personal data that you provide in the input to our services, content, including your prompts and other content you upload, such as files, opens in a new window, images, opens in a new window, audio and video, opens in a new window, Sora characters, opens in a new window, and data from connected services, opens in a new window, depending on the features you use. Some of our services allow you to interact with other users, such as post, comment, or send messages, and we treat those interactions as content too. Communication information. If you communicate with us, such as via email or our pages on social media sites, we may collect personal data like your name, contact information, and the contents of the messages you send. Communication information. Contact data. If you choose to connect your device contacts, we upload information from your device address books and check which of your contacts also use our services. If any of your contacts aren't yet using our services, we'll update you if they sign up for our services later. Learn more, opens in a new window, about connecting your contacts and about how we use uploaded contact information, opens in a new window, of people who don't use our services. Other information you provide. We collect other information that you provide to us, such as when you participate in our events or surveys, or when you provide us or a vendor operating on our behalf with information to establish your identity or age. Collectively, other information you provide. Personal data. We receive from your use of the services. When you visit, use, or interact with the services, we receive the following information about your visit, use, or interactions. Log data. We collect information that your browser or device automatically sends when you use our services. Log data includes your Internet Protocol address, browser type, and settings, the date and time of your request, and how you interact with our services. Usage data. We collect information about your use and activity across the services, such as the types of content that you view or engage with, the features you use, and the actions you take when you submit feedback to a model response, the people with whom you interact, as well as your time zone, country, the dates and times of access, user agent and version, type of computer or mobile device, and your computer connection. If you use the Atlas browser, we may also collect your browser data according to your controls, opens in a new window, and use of the service. Device information. We collect information about the device you use to access the services, such as the name of the device, operating system, device identifiers, and browser you are using. Information collected depends on the type of device you use and its settings. Location information. We determine the general area from which your device accesses our services based on information like its IP address for security reasons and to make your product experience better. For example, to protect your account by detecting unusual login activity or to provide more accurate responses. In addition, some of our services allow you to choose to provide more precise location information from your device, such as location information from your device's GPS. Cookies and similar technologies. We use cookies and similar technologies to operate and administer our services and improve your experience. We store some of the information described in this policy with cookies, for example, to help maintain your preferences across sessions if you're not logged in, or to assist with authentication and customer support. For details about our use of cookies, please read our cookie notice. Information we receive from other sources. We receive information from other sources, such as our trusted security and safety partners, to protect safety and prevent fraud, abuse, and other threats to our services, and from marketing vendors who provide us with information about potential customers of our business services. We also collect information from other sources, like information that is publicly available on the Internet, to develop the models that power our services. For more information on the sources of information used to develop the models that power ChatGPT and other services, please see this Help Center article, opens in a new window. 2. How we use personal data. We use personal data for the following purposes: to provide, analyze, and maintain our services, for example, to respond to your questions for ChatGPT, to improve and develop our services and conduct research, for example, to develop new features, to personalize and customize your experience across our services, for example, to provide you with more relevant content, to communicate with you, including to respond to your questions and send you information about our services and events, for example, about changes or improvements to the services. Identify your contacts who use our services when you choose to connect your contacts and update you if they join our services later. To prevent fraud, illegal activity, or misuses of our services, and to protect the security of our systems and services, including by monitoring any content submitted or exchanged on our platforms. Learn more here. And to comply with legal obligations and to protect the rights, privacy, safety, or property of our users, OpenAI, or third parties, for instance to prevent harm to you or others, or to estimate your age to give you an age-appropriate experience. We also aggregate or de-identify personal data so that it no longer identifies you and use this information for the purposes described above, such as to analyze the way our services are being used, to improve and add features to them, and to conduct research. We will maintain and use de-identified information in de-identified form and not attempt to re-identify the information unless required by law. As noted above, we may use content you provide us to improve our services, for example, to train the models that power ChatGPT. Read our instructions, opens in a new window, on how you can opt out of our use of your content to train our models. 3. Disclosure of personal data. We disclose your personal data in the following circumstances. Vendors and service providers. To assist us in meeting business operations needs and to perform certain services and functions, we disclose personal data to vendors and service providers, including providers of hosting services, customer service vendors, cloud services, content delivery services, support and safety services, email communications software, web analytics services, payment and transaction processors, search and shopping providers, and information technology providers. We also work with service providers who help us with age and identity verification, and you can learn more here. Opens in a new window. Based on our instructions, these parties will access, process, or store personal data only in the course of performing their duties to us. Business transfers. If we are involved in strategic transactions, reorganization, bankruptcy, receivership, or transition of service to another provider, collectively, a transaction, your personal data may be disclosed in the diligence process with counterparties and others assisting with the transaction and transferred to a successor or affiliate as part of that transaction along with other assets. Government authorities or other third parties. We may share your personal data, including information about your interaction with our services, with government authorities, industry peers, or other third parties in compliance with the law, if required to do so to comply with a legal obligation, or in the good faith belief that such action is necessary to comply with a legal obligation. To protect and defend our rights or property, if we determine, in our sole discretion, that there is a violation of our terms, policies, or the law. 4. To detect or prevent fraud or other illegal activity. 5. To protect the safety, security, and integrity of our products, employees, users, or the public. Or 6. To protect against legal liability. Affiliates. We disclose personal data to our affiliates, meaning an entity that controls, is controlled by, or is under common control with OpenAI. Our affiliates may use this personal data in a manner consistent with this policy. Business account administrators. When you join a ChatGPT enterprise or business account, the administrators of that account may access and control your OpenAI account, including being able to access your content. In addition, if you create an account using an email address belonging to your employer or another organization, we may share the fact that you have an account and certain account information, such as your email address, with your employer or organization to, for example, enable you to be added to their business account. Parent or guardian of a teen. Teen users and their parents or guardians can choose to link their accounts, allowing the parent or guardian to manage certain settings and receive alerts if we detect a serious safety concern. These accounts can be unlinked at any time. Learn more. Opens in a new window about account linking. Other users and third parties. You interact or share information with certain services allow you to interact or share information with other users or third parties. For example, you can share content like ChatGPT conversations, opens in a new window, or Sora videos, opens in a new window, and characters, opens in a new window. Or share information with third-party search, opens in a new window, and shopping, opens in a new window. Partners. Information you share with third-party partners is governed by their own terms and privacy policies, and you should make sure you understand those terms and policies before sharing information with them. We also aggregate or de-identify personal data so that it no longer identifies you and share it with third parties for the purposes described above, such as to help improve our services. 4. Retention. We'll retain your personal data for only as long as we need in order to provide our services to you or for other legitimate business purposes, such as resolving disputes, safety and security reasons, or complying with our legal obligations. How long we retain personal data depends on the type of data, how we use it, and in many cases your settings. Information we retain until you delete it. Some of our services allow you to delete personal data stored in your account. For example, you can delete specific or all of your ChatGPT conversations, delete specific saved memories, opens in a new window, or delete your account. Once you choose to delete personal data, we will remove it from our systems within 30 days unless we need to retain it for longer as described below, or it has already been de-identified and disassociated from your account when you allow us to use your content to improve our models, opens in a new window. Information we delete automatically. In some cases, personal data will be deleted automatically. For example, temporary chats, opens in a new window, will be automatically deleted within 30 days, unless we have to retain them for safety or legal reasons, as described further below. And your Atlas Incognito browsing history, opens in a new window, won't be saved after you end your session. Information we retain for longer for legitimate security, safety, or legal reasons. In some cases, we need to retain personal data for longer, even after you delete it, for example because we are legally required to address fraud and abuse, for security reasons, or for financial record-keeping purposes. For instance, if specific content or your account is banned because of violations of our usage policies, we may retain that data to protect our services from fraud, abuse, or other violations of our policies. If we are legally required to retain your data, for instance, we receive a lawful subpoena, then we may retain it for the duration of the relevant legal or regulatory obligation. When we are a party to a financial transaction, for instance, when we process your payment for a ChatGPT Plus or Pro account, or facilitate a purchase on ChatGPT, we may retain payment and transaction-related information to meet our accounting, dispute resolution, and regulatory compliance purposes. When you ask us to delete your personal data, we retain the audit record of the erasure request to be able to verify that we have complied with the request. In determining these retention periods, we consider a number of factors, such as our purpose for processing the personal data, such as whether we need to retain it to provide our services, the amount, nature, and sensitivity of the information, the potential risk of harm from unauthorized use or disclosure, any legal requirements that we are subject to. 5. Data controls. Our services provide you with a number of controls over your personal data and how it is used and retained. You can always change these settings in your account. These include the following controls. You can easily choose whether your content can be used to improve and train our models. Opens in a new window. You can decide whether we will remember details between chats to make content more personalized and relevant. You can export your ChatGPT history and data in your account's data controls. You can delete or archive chats in ChatGPT or delete your account entirely. If you enable temporary chat opens in a new window in ChatGPT, those conversations with ChatGPT will not appear in your history or be used to improve OpenAI's models. Depending on applicable law, you may be able to choose which cookies are used when you use our services. If you use the Atlas browser, you can delete your browsing history or choose to browse the web in incognito mode, which helps keep your browsing private from other people who use your device. You can unsubscribe from marketing communications you receive from us by using the choices provided in those communications. You can find more information on data controls here, opens in a new window, and by visiting privacy.openai.com, opens in a new window. 6. Your rights. Depending on where you live, you may have certain statutory rights in relation to your personal data. For example, you may have the right to access your personal data and information relating to how it is processed, rectify or update your personal data, delete your personal data from our records, restrict how we process your personal data, transfer your personal data to a third party, right to data portability, withdraw your consent where we rely on consent as the legal basis for processing, lodge a complaint with your local data protection authority. You can exercise some of these rights through your OpenAI account using the tools described in the Data Controls section. Or you can submit your request through privacy.openai.com, opens in a new window, or to dsr@openai.com. You can contact our data protection officer at dpo@openai.com. A note about accuracy. Services like ChatGPT generate responses by reading a user's request and, in response, predicting the words most likely to appear next. In some cases, the words most likely to appear next may not be the most factually accurate. For this reason, you should not rely on the factual accuracy of output from our models. If you notice that ChatGPT output contains factually inaccurate information about you, and you would like to request a correction or removal of the information, you can submit these requests through privacy.openai.com, opens in a new window, or to dsr@openai.com, and we will consider your request based on applicable law and the technical capabilities of our models. For information on how to exercise your rights with respect to data we have collected from the Internet to train our models, please see this Help Center article, opens in a new window. OpenAI processes your personal data for the purposes described in this policy on servers located in various jurisdictions, including processing and storing your personal data in our facilities and servers in the United States, or in countries or territories where our affiliates and partners or our vendors and service providers are located. While data protection law varies by country, we apply the protections described in this policy to your personal data regardless of where it is processed, and only transfer that data pursuant to legally valid transfer mechanisms. 7. Children. Our services are not directed to or intended for children under 13. We do not knowingly collect personal data from children under 13. If you have reason to believe that a child under 13 has provided personal data to OpenAI through the services, please email us at privacy@openai.com. We will investigate any notification and, if appropriate, delete the personal data from our systems. Users under 18 must have permission from their parent or guardian to use our services. Learn more, opens in a new window, about how teens and parents or guardians can choose to link their accounts. 8. Security. We implement commercially reasonable technical, administrative, and organizational measures designed to protect personal data from loss, misuse, and unauthorized access, disclosure, alteration, or destruction. However, no internet or email transmission is ever fully secure or error-free. Therefore, you should take special care in deciding what information you provide to the services. In addition, we are not responsible for circumvention of any privacy settings or security measures contained on the service or third-party websites. 9. Additional U.S. state disclosures. Some U.S. state privacy laws, opens in a new window, require specific disclosures. The following table provides additional information about the categories of personal data we collect and how we use and disclose that information. You can read more about the personal data we collect and where we collect it from in Personal Data We Collect, above. How we use personal data in How we use personal data above. When we disclose personal data in Disclosure of personal data, above, and how we retain personal data in Retention, above. Category of personal data. Use of personal data. Disclosure of personal data. We collect the following information, as described above. Identifiers, such as your name, contact details, IP address, and other device identifiers. Commercial information, such as your transaction history. Network activity information, such as how you interact with our services, including log data, usage data, and information about the device you use to access the services. Content, including your prompts and content you upload to the services and interactions and messages with other users. Communication information, such as your contact information when you send us email. Contact data if you choose to connect your device contacts. Geolocation data, such as the general area from which your device accesses our services based on information like its IP address, or precise location information you choose to provide. Other account information, such as your account credentials, payment information, date of birth, and profile picture. Other information you provide, such as if you choose to participate in our events or surveys, or when you provide us or a vendor operating on our behalf with information to establish your identity or age. We use this information for the following purposes, as described above: provide, analyze, and maintain our services. Improve and develop our services and conduct research, including using your content to train our models, subject to your control. To personalize and customize your experience across our services. Communicate with you, including to respond to your questions, and send you information about our services and events, for example about changes or improvements to the services or offers, or information that may interest you. To identify your contacts who use our services when you choose to connect your contacts, and update you if they join our services later. Prevent fraud, illegal activity, or misuses of our services, and to protect the security of our systems and services, including by monitoring any content submitted or exchanged on our platforms. Learn more here. Comply with legal obligations and protect the rights, privacy, safety, or property of our users, OpenAI or third parties, for instance to prevent harm to you or others, and to estimate your age to give you an age-appropriate experience. We may disclose this information in the following circumstances as described above: vendors, service providers, and affiliates, to assist us in meeting business operations needs and to perform certain services and functions described above. Government authorities or other third parties for the legal reasons described above. Parties involved in transactions. Business account administrators for the reasons described above. Parents or guardians of teen users for account linking purposes described above. Other users and third parties you interact or share information with. Depending on where you live and subject to applicable exceptions, you may have the following privacy rights in relation to your personal data. The right to know information about our processing of your personal data, including the right to access your personal data, often in a portable format, the right to request deletion of your personal data, the right to correct your personal data, and the right to be free from retaliation relating to the exercise of any of your privacy rights. We don't sell personal data or share personal data for cross-contextual behavioral advertising, and we do not process personal data for targeted advertising purposes, as those terms are defined under state privacy laws. We also don't process sensitive personal data for the purposes of inferring characteristics about a consumer. Exercising your rights. You can exercise privacy rights described in this section by submitting a request through privacy.openai.com, opens in a new window, or to dzar@openai.com. Review our California privacy rights reporting here. Verification. In order to protect your personal data from unauthorized access, change, or deletion, we may require you to verify your credentials before you can submit a request to know, correct, or delete personal data. If you do not have an account with us, or if we suspect fraudulent or malicious activity, we may ask you to provide additional personal data for verification. If we cannot verify your identity, we will not be able to honor your request. Authorized agents. Depending upon where you reside, you may also submit a rights request through an authorized agent. If you do so, the agent must present authority to act on your behalf, such as signed written permission, and you may also be required to independently verify your identity with us. Authorized agent requests can be submitted to dsar@openai.com. Appeals. Depending on where you live, you may have the right to appeal a decision we make relating to requests to exercise your rights. To appeal a decision, please send your request to dsar@openai.com. 10. Changes to the privacy policy. We may update this policy from time to time. When we do, we will publish an updated version and effective date on this page, unless another type of notice is required by applicable law. 十一. Data Controller. If you live in the European Economic Area, EEA, or Switzerland, OpenAI Ireland Limited, with its registered office at first floor, the Liffey Trust Centre, 117 to 126 Sheriff Street Upper, Dublin 1, D01YC43, Ireland, is the controller and is responsible for the processing of your personal data as described in this policy. If you live anywhere else, OpenAI OpCo, LLC, with its registered office at 1455 3rd Street, San Francisco, California, 94158, United States, is the controller and is responsible for the processing of your personal data as described in this policy. 12. How to contact us. Please contact support, opens in a new window, if you have any questions or concerns not already addressed in this policy. 13. Useful resources. How your data is used to improve model performance, opens in a new window. Data Controls FAQ, opens in a new window. Privacy Portal opens in a new window. Memories FAQ, opens in a new window. Voice Mode FAQ, opens in a new window. Health Privacy Notice.